Hi, everybody. My name's Kristen Fletcher. I'm the Programs and Engagement Manager here at the Haley Public Library. To celebrate the 25th anniversary of Trailing of the Sheep, we are hosting Stories from My Early Days as a Sheepherder, a conversation with local financial planner and former sheepherder Alberto Uranga. Originally from the Basque Country of Spain, Alberto will share sheepherding stories from years in the deserts and mountains of Idaho over a half century ago. I always like to feature something that we have in our collections, and I usually feature books, but this time I'm going to feature a wonderful DVD. It's called Sweetgrass. It's described as an unsentimental elegy to the American West. It follows the last modern-day cowboys to lead their flocks of sheep into the Montana's breathtaking and often dangerous Absaroka Beartooth Mountains. The astonishingly beautiful film reveals a world in which nature and culture, animals and humans, and vulnerability and violence are all intimately meshed. And I've watched this video myself, and that describes it really well. It's beautifully photographed, and it's very unsentimental. Alberto will talk tonight about sheepherding 50 years ago. Sheepherding nowadays, folks have cell phones. It's quite a bit different, but there are very, very many similarities. So it is my pleasure to introduce Alberto Uranga. He was born and raised in a small Basque village in northern Spain, which was founded in 1209, and its economy is tied to the sea. After serving in the Spanish Navy, which he'll talk about in more detail, he decided to live a life of adventure and made his way to Idaho, not speaking a word of English. He became a US citizen in 1974 and began selling insurance door to door before opening his own financial services business in 1984. He has been a board member of Trailing of the Sheep for almost 20 years and is the founder of Lasai Benefits, a financing company that helps clients purchase real estate. So unlike some of our talks, this will actually be a conversation. So I'll be asking Alberto some questions as we go along. And let's see, I need to unmute Alberto. Everybody else. Oh, Alberto, you'll need to unmute yourself. So I can't hear you on the phone. You'll need to take your cursor down to the bottom left corner of your screen. There's a little microphone there that says,
there you go.
There you go. And now what I'm going to do also is I am going to spotlight you so people will see you instead of all of us. So
I see you all very good looking people. I know Tom. How are you, Tom?
So let's see. Let's just start by talking about your childhood in the Basque Country. It sounds like a beautiful and historic town. So just share a little bit with us what your community was like, maybe your family. Do you have siblings? Things like that.
Yeah. My hometown and the fishing village of Mutriku, population 5,000. Back then in 1968 when I left, and today is population 5,000 still. The same amount of people live there, different ones, most of them. But it's a fishing village, tuna boats, anchovy boats. So that's my life. My father was a tuna boat skipper, 24 men, and they go out to the sea in the Cantabric Sea. And my hometown, Mutriku, is right in the middle of Bilbao, city of Bilbao on the left, and San Sebastian on the right. Either way, 40 miles from Bilbao to my hometown and San Sebastian to my hometown. The next town is Biarritz, France, the Basque Country. So that's what was my life, Grew up in the fishing family, and poor people. All of us were poor back then due to the Civil War and all the stuff, the politics of Franco. And anyway, a nightmare,
Hmm.
a nightmare. So that's where I started my life working for fishing factories. Ended up in the Spanish Navy, not for choice or by choice, but back then Franco had the dictator Franco had an order saying, once you get to be 18, 19, you will join the Army or Navy, whichever you want. So being from the fishing background, I choose to go Navy for 2 years. So I served in basically it was an American giving warships after this World War II. Spain collected many American Navy ships. So I served 2 years going back and forth from the Rhoda, which is the American base, airline base, but also a Navy, all the way to Africa and the Gibraltar, Rock of Gibraltar. So 2 years I spent back and forth on the Gibraltar Stretch, what we call it.
So Alberto, were you on ships at that time? Is that your job was on a ship?
Yes.
Okay.
All the time.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, all the time. I was in charge of 150 members in the boat. And my job was to elect who's gonna be on guard the night and how many people will eat aboard when we were in port and how many will not come aboard and so all this stuff. Anyway, yeah. Move on to America. It was a dream. It was a dream, America back then, and as well today. I mean, back then was, oh my God, America, cowboys, Indians. You couldn't not to come to America and see what it's all about. So two of us got together, and funny thing, the other one, Fernando, was a farmer's boy, farm boy. He was really a farmer, and I was a fishing family and all anything to do with fishing. So two of us, neither one of us spoke English, not a word. We carry a dictionary, a little pocket dictionary, to ask questions to the stewardess when we left Spain, Madrid, to New York. And then from New York, we ended up in Salt Lake City, Utah. And
Well, Alberto, I'm going to interrupt a little bit, but in this little town in the Basque Country, how did you even learn about jobs in America?
Oh yeah, good question. We went to Bilbao, and in Bilbao was American embassy. So we went there and applied for a job. And 2 months later, we got the letter and saying that we were hired by a Western Range Association. That's what the association was hiring Basque people to go herd sheep. And so we presented ourselves, and that's how we got to America.
So did you know at that time that you were going to the western part of the United States, or did you know what the Western Range Association was even about? What they even did?
California is the only thing we knew. We thought America was California. And we were shocked to see that in New York, when they said, now you're going to go to Salt Lake City, we said, Salt Lake, what? Where is that at? No one told us that. Of course we knew it. And I mean, we had it all in writing, but we didn't know about the different states, and all we knew is America. Yeah.
So so you landed in Los Angeles, is that right? And then Salt Lake City?
No, New York direct to Salt Lake City.
Ah, oh,
And,
direct. Oh, wow. Huh.
and then we pick up, actually there was other bus people that living in Salt Lake City, and they had us connect with, a family that had cars, and so they drove us to Gooding, Idaho, from
Oh,
Salt Lake City. Yeah.
oh.
So we ended up in Gooding, Idaho, in 1968, February 5th. I'll never forget. It's colder than heck. I mean, it was so cold. I said, "What the heck is this?" And so we went to a ranch, and in the ranch were sheep everywhere. I mean, everywhere. Corral, sheep, cold, snow, you name it. I kept asking, Fernando and I kept asking, are we sure we did the right thing? Amazing, amazing.
Hmm. So was it scary? I mean, you're living a life of adventure, but then when you're in the middle of that life of adventure, did you really start having some doubts about what you'd gotten yourself into?
I almost died. The first 2 weeks, I caught double pneumonia,
Oh.
and they put me in the hospital in Gooding. And Richard, I can't remember his last name, the doctor at the hospital, and the old hospital in Gooding, announced to the one of the nurses, which happened to be married to a Basque person, that if I didn't break water that night, I was gonna die.
Hmm.
So I broke water in the hospital, and they put me then immediately in Shoshone, Idaho, the Basque boarding house.
Hmm. Mhm.
I spent there a month, and then they shipped me to the desert.
Gosh. So where in the desert did they ship you at that point? Because that would have been, was that March then?
Right.
Okay. Huh.
It was March, and so they shipped me to. Some of you probably recognize Bell Rapids. It's a desert right above Hagerman. Go all the way towards Nevada. So there is where I end up about middle of March, towards the end of March, in a sheep wagon with
Mm.
with a sheepherder waiting for me and teach me how to make bread. Oh gosh, oh gosh. Yeah, yeah. You asked me if I was sorry.
Yeah.
I had a mixed emotions, yes, all
Mm.
along.
Uh-huh.
Um, couldn't cry because I didn't have any tears left after that hospital
Huh.
thing.
Huh. Huh. Wow. So let's see. So you're down south of Twin Falls. Um, and so did you stay in the kind of sheep wagons that we think of, kind of like a little wagon with a canvas top on it?
Right.
Uh-huh.
Yes. And at the desert, I knew how to drive when I came from Spain. So they put me with the water. And my job was to every morning from the Bell Rapids Desert, go down to Snake River and Hagerman and load up the truck, water truck tank with water and go back to the desert and give water to the sheep.
Mm.
That was my job till about, shall I say, the middle of April,
Hmm.
towards the end of April. And that's how we used to do with you know water truck. There's no water in the desert, so we go down to Hagerman, the Snake River,
Mm. Hmm.
and so pump water in and out to the desert again.
So Alberto, somebody just asked a question. He said, would you type the name of Alberto's hometown? So if you could spell it for me, I will just type it into the chat for everybody.
And you will love the pictures of it. M, yeah, M as in Mary, UTRKO, Mutrico. Mutruko, Mutriku. Now is at the end is an U rather than the O.
Okay.
Mutriku.
Mutriku. Okay.
Mutriku.
Okay.
Thompson
Oh,
Hill,
Mutriku. I think I missed that one. So
yeah.
let's see.
They're
Mutriku.
beautiful. Yeah.
Mutriku. We'll try that one. I think the second one's more correct. So,
Uh, it's
yeah.
close to the Guggenheim statue and monument in Bilbao. It's just
Mm,
40 minutes.
mm. So could you maybe just now that you're a sheep herder, could you talk to us a little bit about now you were a sheep herder for 3 years, is that correct?
3 years.
3 years.
Okay.
So I'm guessing that some of those years were pretty different, but in general, could you just describe what a year would be? I mean, here you've got us in March and April. How does a year just kind of generally play out? And then we'll talk a little bit about, particular days and certain events that happened.
Yeah. Yeah. So out of the desert at the early March, then we crossed the Snake River one more time. There's a bridge back then, and I think still is. So we had 2,200 sheep.
Hmm.
It's a lot of sheep for two of us and three dogs. Actually, there were four. But I'll tell you in a minute a beautiful story about what happened to me at the desert on blame on about Hagerman. You will love it. I love it. Anyway, it had to do with me and a coyote. And you'll see it. But anyway, then in the middle of towards the end of March, we headed across again the Snake River and went to Bliss, town of Bliss. And from there, we went to North Bliss, infested with coyotes and whatever you can find there. It was, very, very, very tough. There's no roads, dark roads, nothing. It's rocky place, and so we then end up right north of Gooding on the road to Fairfield on Johnson Hill. I don't know if you guys know where that is. Johnson Hill, we went there. And so we stopped there for a week. And from there, we went down to Magic Reservoir on the left side between Fairfield and Ketchum. Well, and everybody knows the place where it is. So we were there till the second week of June. No, it was May, towards the end of May, and we were there in the desert on the Magic Reservoir, and then we crossed again to Haley Gulch, which the sheep up there to the Haley Gulch till middle June, where we abandoned, meaning we left the sheep wagons and we took packed 3 horses with all the stuff we needed, tent, and so we then went to up towards the mountain, starting going up and higher and higher, and so we ended up over by Big Smoky. So our sheep was now on the Forest Service. We were going higher and higher. So that's how we spent all the way to the top of the Smoky Mountains. And so that's what we spent the time from the Smoky Mountains, week at a time in one place. You could not stay no more than a week in one piece of land. In other words, that was to protect that, the area, the grass and all that. And so slowly, week at a time, we pack and move, pack and move. We look like gypsies, going nonstop all the way. And then we end up on the top on Baker Creek Lake, way up there. We end up there. And then went down the Baker Creek to the meadows where we sold the lambs. And the trucks will come and ship the lamb out to wherever they had to take. And then all the ewes, the dry sheep, once we remove the lambs, we turn around, the same thing, this time without the lambs. Most of them, they were older ewes, and so we started back again towards Fairfield, towards Big Smoky, all the mountains. So we passed all the mountains again, and a lot of a heartache there. That was a tough. Those mountains, I don't know if any one of you have been the other side, far down from the Baldy Mountain here, and catch them. The other side, there's nothing there, nothing but very hard terrains. So we stayed there slowly all the way till, well, actually it was October, first week of October. We're there. And so, and then in October, we then from the middle of Big Smoky Meadows with the dry ewes and bulls, we hiked, we went up to Soldier Mountain. That was a job on itself. October, first week of October, Soldier Mountain, it snowed like heck. And we couldn't move the sheep because of the snow wouldn't allow them to move forward. So those stories that in my own mind, that those thinking about it makes me, I don't know what it makes me. And then the Soldier Mountain, we went zigzagging downwards towards Chimney Creek, which is below Fairfield, on the Corral, then town the Corral. And then the Corral, we cruised towards Bliss, north of Bliss again. So we went to north of Bliss and stayed there about 3 weeks. And so then December came, and I will never forget the blessed day of December 16th, 1968. We arrived in Gooding at the ranch with the sheep.
Wow. So I have a couple questions for you. Did you say it was, and I'm going way back in your year, so early in the spring, did you say it was Wilson Hill that you go over to go down near Magic, between Magic and Fairfield? Was that the name of that hill?
Thompson Hill.
Thompson Hill. And is that where the state highway is now?
Right.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Right. The highway between Gooding and Fairfield.
Okay.
And to get there, we came from Northern Bliss, and it was that's a very, very tough terrain, especially to pull a wagon. And so, but that's what we did all the way to Thompson Hill and down to the desert, and then up to Hilly Gulch and to the mountains that led to Smoky and Big Smoky, both of them.
Yeah. So as you were going up, there was a certain point where you abandoned the sheep wagon because it just got too rough. And then when you were coming back down again, did you meet up with your sheep wagon, or was all the rest of that to Bliss? Was that all on horses and pack mules and that sort of thing?
When we abandoned the sheep wagon, we called it Marriott's. It was our Marriott because of the
your Marriott.
the alternative was the ground, sleeping on the ground, Anyway, on the tent in the ground. But and those tents back then were not like the fancy one today. They weighed a ton. But anyway, you asked a question. Yeah, we let the sheep wagons in the first week of June and took the tent, and all the way up to Baker Creek, it was all tent. We didn't have a wagon at all, none. And on the way back, it's the same way.
Hmm. So one of our participants, thank you, Lane, asks if you ever had a chance to check out any of the lava tube caves. You know how the lava flows and then it makes a crust on the top and the hot lava keeps passing through, but then once the hot lava keeps passing through, then it makes these open caves that can be really cold, actually, even in the summer. Did you get a chance to explore any of those?
We spent a week right next to it called
Oh,
Gamboa Mines. Write that down, Gamboa
Gamboa.
Mine. And right there is this other side of Baker Creek.
Oh,
There is a
okay.
called Gamboa Mine. So the water comes from under the big mountain there,
Mm.
colder than heck. Yeah, Gamboa. And the Gamboa is the last name for Felix Gamboa. Felix Gamboa came here when he was 12 years old, and he died 20 years ago at age 88. So that tells you
Mm.
how old he was when
Mm. Mm.
he left the Basque Country.
Mm.
And 12 years old, his
Mm.
stories will make you cry.
Mm.
You know, I used to love to listen to Felix Gamboa tell about
Mm.
his life.
Mm.
So anyway, yes, there is a wonderful place. If you hike there, you know, some rancher will guide you to the Gamboa mine.
Mm. So you mentioned earlier that you had a story about a sheepdog
Yeah,
and a story about a coyote. Maybe they're the same stories.
no. Let me tell you about the coyote. You know, we know about a lot of people, you know, complain about coyotes, coyotes, and coyotes, and that. And obviously, I didn't know what a coyote was when I came to begin with, until I found them and Bell Rapids above the Snake River and Haggerman. So I was driving the truck, water truck, and on my way back to give water to the sheep, you know, on the Dover Road with the truck that was driving, one an old international truck with a big tank at the back. I looked to the right in the desert and I saw a coyote with a whole bunch of little babies.
Oh.
And so I slowed down, I stopped the truck, got out of the truck, and I walked there where I saw the coyote going up in the ground. So I went there and reached my arm into the little hole, and I can see the coyote was fighting me there. And I grabbed on the lady, he took it with me. So I took the little baby with me to my truck.
Oh.
And so I drove to my camp, and and the sheepherder said, "What the F have you brought me here? The boss gonna kill you. It's gonna fire you, you know, blah, 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 blah." I said, "Hey, come on, take it easy." And I had a little baby, you know, in my wagon there, and we used to have a canned food, you know, and so canned milk. So I opened the canned milk and put some in my arm, I mean, in my hand, and I let the little coyote drinking and drinking. Long story, that coyote, baby coyote, from March to when that happened, all the way to Baker Creek Lake, right above Baker Creek Lake, it came with us as
Oh my gosh.
it grew with the 3 dogs that we had. It grew with them, and it grew with me. He will come with me no matter where I go.
Hmm.
With the dogs, they will sleep together on the
Hmm.
under the wagon and next to the tent. All 3 dogs and the coyote.
Huh.
And we went like this all the way from Bliss all the way to Baker Creek Lake.
Hmm.
And that day, the Baker Creek, in the summer 1969, okay, it was 1969 when that happened. One day, we stayed right by the lake. We had a tent. So we were going to go downward to get rid of the lambs. And that previous night, I fed them, all 3 dogs and the coyote. I pet them. They used to come with me. I pet a coyote like nothing. It was like another dog for me. And I got up in the morning and the coyote was gone.
Hmm.
Disappeared forever.
Hmm.
I think Mother Nature had a call, and
Mm.
he probably saw some coyote or some sleeping. I didn't hear it, but it could have been another female coyote coming anyway.
Mhm. Yeah.
Here.
Oh, that's lovely. So, tell us about your dogs. You said you usually had 3 dogs, is that right? And also, how many horses did you travel with?
Well, one for me and the other one for my friend, and then we had those 2 pit. When we're in the mountain, we have 3 horses pack trucks.
Okay.
We used to pack everything in those 3 horses, and backpacks, and so that's how we did 3 of them.
Hmm. Hmm.
3 plus 2, 5 horses.
Okay.
5 horses. But this one, on the question you asked about the horses, dogs.
Mhm.
Well, that happened in '69 again, and this time I was going up back from the Baker Creek with a dry use past Gamboa mines all the way to a Soldier Mountain. In Soldier Mountain, we're right about 2/3 of it up there. It was October, first, second week of October, colder than heck. And Guillermo, this time I had a veteran sheepherder, Guillermo. He already been here 12 years.
Hmm.
And so he said to me the night before I went to sleep, Alberto, I let the horses free. I said, what? And he says, they need to eat. And I said, well, but you got long rope. Look at the big long ropes, and they fed themselves. And he said, well, but it's gonna be tough, and we need to, we put a hackles. In other words, they couldn't go any more than that. And I said, no, we got to have a rope, and otherwise it's gonna take off. He said, no, don't worry about it. Well, guess what? About 5:30 in the morning, Guillermo gets into the tent and tells me he was in the tent, but went out, I think, to the bathroom or something like that, came back, said, Alberto, said, what's up? Get up. I said, wait up, it's 5 o'clock. I told you, what's more? He says, horses disappear. I said, what? Are you kidding me, Guillermo? No. He says, where are they? Well, look in the tracks. They took this road down towards Fairfield. I said,
Oh, no.
you kidding me? He says, no. So, I took an old coat, I put everything I had, and I thought I better run. And it was dark, or 5 in the morning in October. So I started running and running as fast as I could. No horses, and down. And if any one of you have been in Southern Mountain, up in the mountain, going down towards Fairfield, and I went down and down, walking in the dark, with all 3 dogs, down and down and down and down, looking for the horses. Later on, was done. I walked 4 miles and down the bottom of Solar Mountain, where you go to ski mountain there, when you go to ski, there were the horses and the mule.
Mm.
And said, oh my God, so what do I did? Through the dog said, said, go get them, come on, go get them, bring them around, bring them around. And the dogs, so I love them. One of them was Blue, the name was Blue. It was a puppy dog, just a little puppy, 6, 7 months old. The other one is Mandy, older, big, strong collier. And the third one, it was, we call it copy, Mandy and Blue. And Blue went to bring that those mules around, got a little too close to the mule, and the mule kicked the dog.
Oh,
I mean,
oh.
it kicked so hard. You know, I'm not kidding you. I'm still seeing it. It flew up in the air, down, hit the ground. I went, oh my God. And he went running like crazy all over. And I was able to grab him. I grabbed him. Oh my God. He had his left eye so big, he couldn't see nothing, you know.
Mm,
It was amazing. And it took a long time before I blew. It was
mhm.
okay. Oh man.
Wow.
And then, you know, as I could, I was going up the mountain again, up the road to Soldier Mountain, and luckily, a Forest Service, Rex O'Neill, was coming do his job, and Big Smoky saw what's happening, and he put us inside his truck and took us down to the Guillermo, up in the Soldier Mountain, and Guillermo and I had a few words to say, I guess.
I wonder what those words are, but you better not tell us.
So, you know,
Oh,
a tough life, you know, a tough
yeah.
life back then. I'm talking 53 years ago. Can you imagine
Hmm.
how I was 53 years and today, you
Hmm.
know, the technology today? Today, the uh, sheepholder is Peruvian, wonderful, good, perhaps better than the Basque ourselves, better than me anyway, because I had no idea what the sheep was all about. When I came, I learned, but what I'm getting at is, can you imagine being month in, month out, no news, how your family back home in the Basque country, you know, how's mom, how's that? Because letters came. If you're lucky, every 6 weeks, one letter, and you read the letter 20 times because there's nothing else, no news. You know, we had up in the month of the summertime a radio from Boise.
Mm.
Her name was, a lady's name was Aspe Alegria. Aspe Alegria every Sunday during the month of July, August, had radio communication for all the sheepholders,
Mm.
and she will come and tell us, you know, how the things were back home, whose birthday was among the people who were in the mountains. She will put a basque music to get us a little bit happy, you know,
Mm.
and so other than that, we had nothing. I mean, there was you, solitude, you know, and the solitude came loneliness. So it's not as easy. Then it was horrible looking back. But today, if you feel that you miss your mom, your girlfriend, whatever, most of the mountains, you can dial your cell phone and, hi, mom, how are you?
Mhm.
That was worth to us a lot.
So, um, you told me a story about a bear when we talked a couple of days ago. Would you be willing to share that story?
But what
Did
was that?
a bear? Didn't you have a bear
Oh,
get into your camp? Or
yeah, yeah, well,
yeah,
yeah. You know,
and
we
we can hear you just fine through the computer, so I don't think you need to use your phone.
no, 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 I'm okay.
Okay.
We we were going to the bears and coyotes and cougars and horses, and we were in their terrain, in their home. We are the intruders. So therefore, you know, seeing a bear, it was a very, very, very normal, you know. I was thinking about that this morning, Christine, that on the Fairfield Soldier side of it, it was when we were in that part of the country, it was a daily thing to see a bear and cubs going and maybe 100 yards from us, crossing us, or farther down or closer. And what I noticed is that The vertical side of it, they were reddish bears. We call it rojo, red, and on the other side of it, towards that, Smoky Mountains, there are black bears.
Hmm.
We never had this Montana bears. There was none of them back then. Like I never saw, what the problems that we have now with the animals, but bears was a commonly um, animal that we came up with. And so I had a three very, very, very close encounters of the bears. And one of them was in June. I will never forget that. Again, that was 69, June, right up there about Cherry Creek, about Fairfield there. And we had at that time, he changed the sheepherder. Emmanuel was his name. And he did not know the new terrain, how to push the sheep, which terrain, without making the Forest Service mad because we were crossing the terrain that we don't supposed to be crossing. So I was very worried on him, Manuel, and I said, Manuel, push the sheep in that line there because that's okay to do it there, but don't let go this side any farther. And he says, okay. And I'll say, I will meet you down there in the next 3 hours and you will see, and I will have a rifle shot up in the air so to let you know that where I'm at. And so that's how we did. Well, as I was pulling with my horse, Ancas. Ancas means a leg, big legs, long legs, horse, white horse. Um, and as I was pulling there with a three pack horses, and the one mule, those same ones that kick blue. But I was going a ravine and going up and up and up, and I had a wall on my right, and on the left side was nothing but a deep ravine down you go if you make a mistake. And as we're going up and up and up and up, you know, towards the end, one mule came around and what happened, the rope got on the horse's tail. And guess what happened? The horse started bucking. And I have no place to go. On the right side, I had a wall, I mean, the mountain there, I couldn't rock there. And on the left side, the ravine, I could go down and goodbye, Alberto. And I kick the horse. I got on my chair, my seat, and I just kick it. And it took off up about like maybe a 50 yards, something like that, up and up and up and up. And all of a sudden, the horse, boom, stop and everything. The mule and the other horses coming around. I look, and it was a beautiful, humongous bear looking at me. And the horse and the mule started going around and around. I said, wait a minute, hold it. And the bear got up. And it looked like I don't know, look at it, a humongous tall cathedral bear. Humongous. He got up. And I said, it came out of my mind. I said, the one certain beer de suba, which I mean, and now what you gonna do? That was a Basque. It came out of me. It came, and now what you gonna do? It came in Basque. The one certain beer de suba. And the bear probably were 6 seconds, but it's like an eternity. And I still seeing him coming slowly, looking at me, slowly. And I was not more than 10, 15 feet from him, with it trying to hold a horse. And the bear went down and looked at me and took on the right side and slowly looking at me. Each pace, he was looking at me, and I was holding the horse and the mules around, holding, and he went to the right. And I went, holy smoke. I said, that there, if he wanted to, he could have gotten all of us. That's one of the encounters.
Oh, wow. Gosh.
Would scare any one of us. Again, I don't know how I did those things, honestly. I really don't. All I know is I look back at my life and says, did I do that?
It's easier now. Oh, so
And the other one, though,
yeah.
the other one, it's a book needs to be written about the other one. Holy cow. So this other one, it happened again. It was 69. And it happened in high camp, right above Big Smoky. If anyone goes towards that terrain, you'll see there, the vast sheepholders. And I think the Peruvians do the same thing, You look to the right tree and you'll see an arrow to the left and then to the right and to the left. And so that's how we used to walk through the city streets of the mountains there. So it was early in the morning. And that night, previous night, this time it was Florencio, he is from Guernica, Florencio. And that was his last year on the contract. And we were there. And it was just about 69 summer. And so in the morning, the sheepherder, whoever is there in charge of the day, needs to get up between 4:30 and 5:30 in the morning before the sheep takes off. Because the sheep takes off and goes in the wrong direction, is very, very, very hard to turn them around to the right place. Because if you don't guide them to the right place to begin with, then it's almost impossible to turn 2,000 sheep around the way that you're supposed to be doing, because you probably are pushing to the place that you already been there and there's no grass to eat. So you got to take it to where the new grass is. And so Floren got up and went to the sheep, and I was the captain there, and I supposed to, get the breakfast going, coffee and all that. But I was still in bed because it wasn't not time for me to get up. And all of a sudden I hear this I said, "Oh, what's going on?" He said, "Floren is riding a horse. 5 a.m. It's around." And I was able to put my underwear on. He gets a, "Give me a rifle, give me the rifle." I said, "What's the matter?" He says, "There's a bear about to attack the sheep." I said, "Okay." So I gave him the rifle, one rifle. We only had a one rifle for 2 of us all the time. Every sheepholder had a one. That's it. And so he said, tie the horse. We're gonna walk. It's right there. So I put my pants on the shoes I could and go with him. And I was behind Florencio, and he was with a rifle hitting me. And I said, "Where is it? Where is it?" He says, "You that back tree there, the black one, the pine tree there?" Yeah. Well, he's sitting right on the bottom of the pine tree. And so we go there, and we'll go there. And all of a sudden, as I'm walking, I felt something. I looked to my right. There was a bear looking at me, sitting on the bottom of the pine tree, looking at me like a hi, And I went, "Florence, Florence, Florence!" I said, yelling him. He said, "What? Bear's here, bear's here." He turned around, and the bear got up and started running on the right direction. And dummy Florencio followed right, running beyond the bear and me beyond. And so we got to the point that was a beautiful meadow downward. I mean, long, beautiful one. And so the bear took downward, was running fast like a dog, faster. And we were following behind. And when we were just catching our breath, we got down to the meadow. Guess what? The bear turned around and chased us. Oh my God, the bear was coming in 2 feet. Oh, 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 oh. I said, "Floren, shoot, Floren, shoot, and nothing yet. And when the bear is about what, 10, 12 feet, Florence, shoot! They were bam! And the bird went backwards, bam, and down, and took off the bear. The bear went down and down, running, already hit. And we following, running behind like two stupid guys. And so we got there, and the bear was there. And I really, looking back now, and I feel bad. The bear sounded like a man dying. Oh, oh, and we, holy shit! I said,
Yeah.
what is this? And I looked Florence. I said, Florence, what did you wait that long having a 30-30 rifle? He said, I wanted to be sure I shoot. I said, shoot, you got 30-30 rifle. You hit one in the body anywhere, at least you will stop him. He said, I knew I was going to do that. That's no problem. I said, I use a very bad language to Florencio. I really did. And for about a week or two, we hardly spoke to each other. And that summer, he went back to the Basque Country and up the contract. And so life went on. But in 2007, in the year 2007, the Basque government invited every sheep herder that ever were in America herding sheep festivity in the town of Guernica. You probably know what I'm talking about, the Guernica, which the Picasso or the Civil War and all that. So we gathered together, thousands of us. And and there was a festivity, and the Basque government giving to us and this honors and blah, 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 blah. And then they had presentations and music and all that in this auditorium in Guernica, beautiful auditorium. And I saw a lot of those people that we knew each other from the living here in Gooding and everywhere. And so I asked some of them, I knew, hey, have you seen Florencio lately? And no. It said, yeah, I saw him. He was right back there. And I said, he is? Yeah. I said, are you kidding me? He's there? Yeah, go there. He's there. So I went there. I couldn't find him. And all of a sudden, I sat down in the big, it was over 500 people in the auditorium. I was sitting there looking everywhere. And I just said, where in there? And all of a sudden, I look back and I saw about 2 or 3 seats beyond me. This guy was just looking at me, just looking at me. And I said, hi, Florencio. He says, hi, Alberto. We hug each other and said to me, Alberto, I have to tell you something. I said, what's up, Lauren? What you gonna tell me? He said, I spent many, many nights in all this 30 years since we saw each other. 30 years without seeing each other. He said, there's been no night I go to bed to think about what I did. And he said, this is good for us to talk. I says, what you had to say? He says, I don't remember pulling the trigger. I said, what? I don't remember pulling the trigger that killed the bear. I said, you didn't? He says, no, don't remember. I was frozen. I said, holy shit. So in other words, both of us would have been boom, dead. And he gave me a big hug, and that was it. So, a lot of those things is between animals, but the one, and I would like to, time-wise, get out of here, but I want to do something. I want to say something about this. Bears, cougars, animals, coyotes, they live in their own homes. we are the ones that go after them. And I can tell you that the biggest enemy that we had wasn't animals. It was solitude. The solitude is our biggest enemy. And because of solitude, then comes loneliness. And I seen friends of mine commit suicide. Not because the animal, but solitude
Mm.
and loneliness, and mix that with back home, family, husband, wife, come, don't come, can be, I gotta be here, save money,
Mm.
buy a home, worthless if you kill yourself. And I had friends did that.
Mm.
Shot himself, got killed, 4 of them. So no, animals are not my enemy.
Mm.
Solitude and loneliness. Loneliness will kill anybody.
Mm.
Whether it was 53 years ago, not as much today, because you can't be lonely today because you got your phone that you can call your girlfriend, your parents, your friends, whatever. Peruvians, wonderful, wonderful people, wonderful herders, but they don't know much about loneliness, real loneliness. Because, like I said, I hope you people got something out of me talking about loneliness and solitude. And I am sorry I got a little emotional here, remembering those years. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Alberto, for sharing that. I know it's so difficult. Um, uh, I didn't share with you before, but when I was an early teenager, my father and I would horseback into the mountains. And I remember at one point we were going up a trail and the snow got deeper and deeper and deeper. And we ended up on kind of this pass and the horses were up to their bellies in snow. And we came down what we thought was the other side of the pass, and we saw a sheepherder. And he didn't speak English, and we didn't know where to go. He was up there, as far as we could tell, all by himself. With this deep snow all around, and we had lost the trail. And in our English and his Spanish, we tried to communicate with each other so that he could tell us where that trail was. And he finally understood what we were asking, and he pointed in a direction, and we followed that direction, and we were able to find the trail again. And make our way down the other side into the valley. But that just, I mean, I thought my dad and I were the only people in the world up there. And then to meet this man on horseback who was alone up there in the hills. And so when you share that story, even though it wasn't a personal experience of mine to be a sheep herder, um, I think we can all appreciate how isolated and isolating that experience was, even though there were two of you there. As you explained to me when we talked a couple of days ago, you were the camp tender. So you would make the breakfast, you break the camp, you travel ahead of the person who was taking care of the sheep, and you just waited for that individual to find you. Like you said, you shot the rifle up, but I mean, you were working together, but you were working alone too. And
90% of the time.
yeah,
90% of my day was alone.
yeah,
Like you have the sheep that come in and at dinner didn't want to talk at all because had a hard time. And I was all day long knowing what the hell I'm going to do now. I'm alone. Who is there? Is there anybody? Is anybody there? I yell, scream, nothing there. Let me tell you, my 23rd birthday, I spent in a tent crying.
hmm,
August 17th, 1968, and the mountains of Big Smoky, crying with the three dogs. My birthday is snowing. August 17th, it's snow. Lost all the sheep. Because Guillermo, my friend Guillermo, had to go to Fairfield to the doctor. I was by myself for a week. The
wow.
storm came in, got me, lost all sheep. And I spent the night with the three dogs next to me in a tent. But that was my 23rd birthday, August 17, 1968.
Hmm,
So I know what's to be alone,
yeah.
So, but anyway, I thank you. And tomorrow, I mean, Saturday, I'm going to be, they're going to film me
Hmm,
down in Haley. Some people coming doing a video film that they're going to show it. But maybe if that video that they're going to film of me can be put, Christine, maybe in your Haley community someday.
we would love that. And I wonder if maybe we could end our conversation. Maybe you could share a favorite experience that you had as a sheep herder, something that you saw that was beautiful, or a relationship with one of your sheep herding colleagues, or well, could you just tell us one experience you had that stood out as a favorite experience?
My favorite experience is the little coyote. Really, it is seriously.
Mhm,
The little coyote that everybody should, I took the coyote like it was my dog,
mm,
and like with my dog. My experience, not there no hardly any experience on the sheep that I can say I loved it. None.
mhm, mm,
None. Because
mm,
it was painful.
mm,
It was
mm,
much more painful when you heard that someone shot himself
mhm.
because of loneliness.
Yeah.
I have no, Chris, I'm sorry, but I don't have a
Mhm,
positive, it was the whole world. I enjoyed that. I didn't enjoy anything. I have to do what I have to do. And yeah, I was
mm.
lucky enough to get out of there.
Well, yeah.
But I'm talking about 53 years ago thing. That
Mhm,
may not be true today. Let's put that
mhm,
straight there.
mhm. Well, and when we talked earlier, you made a comment that has kind of stuck with me, that most of what we hear about sheep herding are about the sheep and about the sheep owners. But we seldom hear the stories of coming right from the sheep herders themselves. So I thank you very much for sharing really what was a remarkable time in our valley's history, and what was obviously a very difficult and challenging time in your own personal life. And I'm just personally glad that despite it all, you ended up staying here in Central Idaho and made a life and a career for yourself, and have supported trailing of the sheep for all these decades, and really contributed to our community in so many ways.
Well, no, I want to say the last word. My goal is that before I die, I want to have an sculpture. I already had drawings done by Mr. Ralph Harris that you probably know, Ralph.
Mhm.
I want to do it on a statue, the Basque sheepherder. My ancestors, sheepherders, came in here 150 years ago. And we do have a beautiful monument in Haley. But that's for all sheepherders. I want to have one for the Basque. We are the ones that started and catch them pushing hard. And I want to have a Basque sheepherder, one simple statue, a dog and a lamb and the sheepherder.
Mm,
And that's what my aim is now, that before I die, I want to have that. But I really believe that, a lot of good things came from the Trillium of the sheep. Beautiful.
mhm,
I take my hat off, Diane and John Pity, and I thank you for that.
mhm. Well, I think that's all for tonight. So thanks everybody for joining us tonight, and thank you so much, Alberto Uranga, for sharing your stories with us.
You're welcome. Take care.